Good afternoon. It is June 11th. It is stinking hot down here in southern Ontario. It is absolutely outrageously hot. And but we're okay. We're in my cold basement. I've got my t-shirt on with some comfy shorts. We're feeling good. Went for a bike ride today. Definitely extra pumped because my sister sent me because it's so hot and we're so desperate for rain, she sent me the music video for Hillary Duff's hit single "Come Clean," which is a legendary one. Also, if I have to bail for like 30 seconds, it's because there's someone coming to pick up an Amazon return. So I've got my doorbell camera going here in case they show up. So I'll just be running away for 30 seconds at a time. And I just saw a Canada Post guy walk down the road and look very confused. So I don't know if he was looking for my place, but I don't think Canada Post picks those up. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. What is there is the Come Clean music video, which is excellent, a classic hit song from my childhood. And then right after that, for all you Vancouver fans, the next song that YouTube auto-played was Where the Streets Have No Name by U2. I don't know how those two things are linked together, but that was a good one. That one gets you going in a pre-live stream playlist. So feeling good today. You know, the weather is turning. I'm in the process of making my mock draft. I can't wait to upset everybody. It's going to be awesome, with faking and imagining where players could fit and being supportive of the idea and people going, no, I don't agree. And you're like, okay, cool. It's my favorite time of year. You do all the work all year long, just for people to swoop in and be more right than you at the end of the day. But yeah, we're feeling good, feeling zesty as we also, like, I watched the basketball game last night. I will admit, I don't know very much about basketball. I bandwagoned the Raptors in their championship run. And I mean, ever since Victor Wembanyama kind of hit the world, I kind of went, all right, that guy's a freakazoid, man. And anytime a sport has a freakazoid man, I'm super interested. But I mean, I'm not cheering for the Spurs here. I mean, I don't know how you watched that game last night and go, I want to see the Spurs win this series. I mean, that was just an absolutely one of the craziest sports moments I've ever seen. It's probably up there with the Kawhi Leonard shot, probably up there with the Marc-Andre Fleury save to win the Pittsburgh Penguins the Stanley Cup that one year. I think it was 2008, was it? What was I going to say? Oh, the Karsten Warholm 400-meter hurdles. I know that's like, which one of these is not like the other, but that guy from the Olympics, that is worth a watch if you haven't seen it. That was a pretty unbelievable thing. I watched that at like 2 a.m. live, and I just went, wow. I don't even know anything about track and field, but I know what I just saw was unbelievable. But that game last night, I think it was the largest comeback in NBA Finals history or NBA playoffs history, something like that. Either way, ridiculous. And I mean, I don't know anything about basketball, but how could I forget the baseball moments that the Toronto Blue Jays have given me? Jumping up and down like a madman alone on my back porch, watching the George Springer home run, being at the Rogers Center, seeing the ball get stuck in the fence in Game 6. You know, lots to talk about of just historic sports moments. But that was unbelievable. And the thing too is, like, with basketball, I on one hand, I never really like understood the appeal of the sport, but it is like, for anyone who doesn't know, like I guess you could say I have a little bit of ADHD. I kind of have a whole bunch of things going on in my brain, according to my doctor. And so I guess like hockey is a really good sport for ADHD people, you know, where like you like it's nonstop awesome energy all the time, and just the stress is incredible, and because it keeps coming at you time and time again, and it's nonstop. And like, but there's a spectrum, right? Baseball is kind of the opposite. It's relaxing. You eat your hot dog. You're talking to your friends during the ball game. Balls are flying all over the place. Stop it. Don't do it. I know it's episode 69 of the year, but don't. Stop it. But yeah, balls are flying all over the place. You get to hang out and it's a nice day out with the family and everything's just hunky dory and it's cool. But 2009 was the Fleury save. There you go. And somewhere in the middle, I think you have basketball. Like there's a lot of stoppages in basketball, but the actual flow of the game is very quick by and large, right? And there are moments where you can sort of breathe and catch your breath and whatever. But it's this weird hybrid that's like crazy high energy, like speedy thing, but also like you can take a breather and eat a hot dog type thing, which is very interesting to me. I've never really fully grasped the appeal of basketball, but like seeing the nonstop camera cuts of all the celebrities that were at the game last night and all of their reactions and all of their everything like between plays, that's slowly like ramping up as it became more and more possible that the Knicks could do it. I mean, like that's kind of cool. You're not going to get that playing hockey, really. You're not going to get that, right? All of that happens on the ice. Like it's the game itself that causes those like holy crap, what is going on moments. So I don't even know what the point of this is. I guess I'm just padding out time while people show up and put some questions in the chat. But I mean, I also just could talk about that game all day. I mean, it was just an unbelievable sporting event. And I mean, look, like leave it to New York City, man. They know how to have a good time. They know how to have a party, and they were partying quite a lot last night. I saw some videos and some live streams, and oh man, I was there in spirit. I kind of, there's a very small part of me that if the series does come back to New York, right? Because I think I don't think the next game is in New York. I'm looking it up now, but I'm sure someone will put it in the chat. The next game is in San Antonio. So if it comes back to New York for June 16th, I might have to get in the car, go down to New York City, and spend some time on the streets. Anyway, fun times. Good times. Yeah, so the mock draft is in production. We're going to put that, it's going to be written, in case you're not sure. Subscribers will get it first. So if you don't want to see it early, go to scouching.ca, get yourself a subscription. The rankings are pretty much locked in. I've been checking out some stuff here and there just to fine tune it and rankering it, and I just at this point, I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of set. Feel pretty good about it, and so I think we're getting towards the end here. And there will be a video for that. There will be a video breaking down the rankings, and so I'm going to film that early next week, and hopefully Monday or Tuesday next week it'll be out. And if you don't know, all of the live streams for draft week that we're planning are up and scheduled. We're doing Monday night, normal time, just a normal show. We're doing the mock draft that week, which again, if you're a subscriber, you can register for. I should probably check how many spots there are left. And then we're going to be doing the next day for the afternoon. I think that's when I have the rankings dropping on the Tuesday. Thursday night, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have a little party time, pre-draft excitement. And then the live streams for the draft and the day after. And then the Monday after the draft weekend is recap day. So we'll be busy. So this is the sort of the calm before the storm a little bit, doing a lot of writing and finalizing and just keeping an eye on the lay of the land and keeping the simulator updated as rankings drop. And so I don't know. I'm excited though this year. I'll tell you this. I honestly if I'm a fan of a team, you got to just kind of have fun with this one. I think it could go a ton of different ways. I think it's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be a good one. I know what I think about these players, and sure, I have a level of certainty with a lot of it, but it's going to be a fascinating group of players to see when you look back in 5 or 10 years. There's a lot of interesting things that could happen. Yeah, let's see. Oh, we have some shorts chats here. Cole Eiserman or Victor Eklund? I mean, I'd probably lean Eklund. I had Eklund ranked higher than Eiserman. Eiserman is a bit more one-dimensional, or more of a limited dimensional player than Eklund is. So yeah, I'd go Eklund. He has an ADHD or basketball is crack. I need hockey to calm my nerves. I mean, I'm not gonna say that you're incorrect or anything. I'm not saying that at all. I just don't know how I see. I don't see it that way personally. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine it. Did the email for the community mock draft get sent out yet? I'm not sure. That's a very good question. I will check. I don't think so. So there's still plenty of spots. I just looked. So it's still good if you're a subscriber of the site. But yeah, there's something weird with Squarespace's like plans and emailing all of your subscribers all at once. I think this summer I'm going to try and work on moving the site off of Squarespace, because it's been really frustrating, especially with like speaking and communicating with the subscribers outside of Discord. It is in Discord, definitely. I'll also put a link. I'll do this too. I'll put a link on the homepage if you're a subscriber. I'll put a link to register on the homepage of your accounts. But don't worry. I know you. I know your username. I'll reserve you a spot. I will keep you one. Cause yeah, we're looking pretty good for open spots right now. Forget junior hockey for a second. How do we solve minor hockey in Canada? I mean, you say it's 20,000 a year to do it. I mean, that's the big question. Look, I'll say this. This is anecdotal. And I'm sure there are parents who watch or listen to the show who are parents and know a lot more about this than I do. But I feel like when I was a kid, there was a lot more access to local community organizations and activities that were like subsidized and accessible. Like, for example, right? Like for where I live, I won't say where, but where I live, I get a pamphlet that basically breaks down where every dollar of my property taxes go. Like, I pay property tax to the city, and I see where it all goes. And like, I get it. You've got to have a police force, you got to enforce laws, whatever. But and you got to have schools and you got to fund them and everything. But like, the recreation and leisure budget is really low. Like, I look at it and I go, if they doubled the rate, if they raised my property taxes or raised the amount that went to community organizations and leisure activities and local like stuff like that, so they could hire like young people to do programs with kids and get them playing more sports, even if it's hockey or not, like, I don't care. Like, the city here owns rinks. So, like, I know they do this. It would be, I think, something I'd be happy. Like, I think as a society, we need to have a conversation about understanding where our tax money goes and, like, really being comfortable with saying, okay, I could pay an extra 0.2% of my income if I knew it was going towards community sports stuff, like if they announced that kind of thing. And like held them to it, right? I'd be that's something where I'm like, yeah, like if that's a thing that you want to do, because there's not much money going to it. So like, obviously that's not going to help with like things like equipment costs, and I mean, look, I think equipment costs in hockey, they've always been expensive. It's always been an expensive sport to play, relatively speaking. But I mean, I do wonder about the idea of like, again, I think that sanitation is a major thing you need to think about, and like hygiene and like disinfecting, but like having community equipment that can be handed out and rented or something like that for a season for a kid is, I think, something that could be an idea that I don't think exists. When I was a kid, like when I was little, like we had goalie equipment that kids would borrow and bring back, and you'd have to, all they said was just keep it clean, like wash it when you have your equipment at home, like make sure it's clean and washed and everything like that. um and so then on that note, like maybe there's something that could be organized on that side of things. The other thing I'll say too, and I've said this on the show too, it's a really interesting question, so I could go on and all the time about it. But if I were king of the world, like let's say I took over the IIHF, right? I would be putting a lot of money into ball hockey. Like I'd put a lot of money into investing in like even just those plastic sticks, like plastic sticks that can take a beating, and plastic balls, you know? Like I think that would be like, not if you want to increase the global reach of the sport. I think ice hockey should be like, if you really love it, that's where you go. But if you want to dip your toe in, like start small, start like really small and basic. And I think that because playing ball hockey, I've done it for years, it's significantly more expensive, or less expensive, I should say. Like the league registration fees are cheaper. You need, I always wore soccer shin guards and a jock and a helmet. That's all the equipment that they legally require. So it's cheaper. Yeah, you could play field hockey. Sure, that's a different sport. Like that's not the same. Like it's, but it is a cheaper option. And on a smaller rink, like an actual ball hockey rink, which is a little bit smaller, it's really fun. And yeah, roller hockey is a suggestion. I really want roller hockey to come back. I miss the RHI. I forget the name of the company, but if you Google it, there's a company out there that somehow has the trademark rights, somehow, I don't know how, to the old roller hockey international teams, and they make t-shirts and jerseys and all that stuff, and I miss that era of the world. I think that vibe is just so sorely missed. So like there's some sort of combination of things in there. Like I just think we need to have more well-funded like community organizations from local governments, like on a small scale, and like because it gives kids something to do. You know what I mean? Like kids are addicted to their phones because there's like nothing better for them to do. Because phones are awesome. The internet is awesome, and phones are awesome. But like, so is having fun and playing sports. But like, if it's a tough spot to be. Yeah, we need the knuckle puck. Exactly. We need the knuckle puck. So, like, obviously, elite hockey being expensive, it adds a lot of politics to it. It adds a lot of craziness to it. I mean, I'm of the belief, I'll say this, I'm of the belief, and I said this on the last show, I'm of the belief that, like, I think private schools in the GTA, I think private schools in general, like, they are building out more infrastructure to play hockey at a high level for students. And I would imagine they're offering scholarships to players to play there and board there and all that stuff. And like, then you're putting the onus on the parents that pay tuition to then subsidize kids to play hockey at that school. So it's like, if you're a good enough athlete and you're maybe a kid that can play AA, AAA hockey in Ontario or something, maybe there's an option for a private school to say, hey, like, yeah, your parents could spend 30 grand to play AA sports, or we'll give you if you're a good student, we'll give you a scholarship and you can come and play hockey at such and such a school. St. Michael's College has a rink on campus, and they, maybe there's a pathway there because they make a lot of money. Like, these schools are charging a lot of money for tuition. And they do scholarships. I know for a fact that they do. So, and like, who knows where that could go in terms of like making the money back in revenue somehow, whether it's like broadcasting it somehow. I mean, I think that would be really fun, like a really good high school prep hockey program, of like under 18s that is competitive and small and concentrated, and they put it out like on YouTube or something. Like I'd sign up as a member of that for whatever it is a month. Like, sure. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think there are options, and I think that it's requiring like thinking outside the box a little bit. But I don't think you're gonna get it by begging the NHL or begging equipment manufacturers or begging teams to like make it more accessible themselves. Like, I think it's more of a, like, how do you get more support at the grassroots level? Like, that's the bigger thing for me, right? Like, you know, maybe and I mean, the big question for me is like, if you do have some sort of equipment bank that kids can rent, you know, for a season or whatever, is that allowed? Is that even like a good idea hygiene wise? Because then you're trusting parents to like be responsible, and as we all can probably know from time to time, not all parents are very responsible. So who knows? I don't know. It's but it's a bajillion-dollar question. I mean, I think there's a lot of upside in the hockey world for being a bigger sport in the world than it is, but yeah, it's not going to get there on this track at all. Did you actually watch Game 4 finals? Yeah. I did watch the whole game. I've watched 2 of the games. It's great. Like, this series, again, I don't know nothing about basketball, but it's been great. Who do you think will win the World Cup? Yeah, we got a couple of World Cup stuff here. So I pulled up the standings. There's so many teams. Oh my god. Well, look, I think I got to put my name behind Uzbekistan for starters. Yasserbek Rustamkhonov is going to be, you know, cheering for these guys, and I'll get behind that. Again, soccer is not a sport, or football is not a sport that I know a whole lot about. I'm also scrolling through, and some of these groups look way tougher than others. Wow. I don't know. Like, who's a team that is a long shot? Well, obviously Canada's going to win. Canada could make the playoffs. I think there's a pretty strong chance Canada is a playoff team. Like, could they get through Bosnia and Qatar? Yeah, I think so. We'll see how many people Qatar have bought and brought in to make their team better, but I don't know. They might be able to do some stuff. They've got a pretty decent team. I don't know. I always love watching the Spanish team play, but that's the favorite, so who cares? I mean, I might, if I have a emotional team that I support that isn't Canada, I'm always partial to Scotland. I love Scotland. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I don't know if they'll get through Brazil and Morocco. We'll see. You know, you never know. But I don't know. You tell me. Who's gonna win? So I can pretend like I knew all along. You guys know more than me. New fan. Do you think Sharks should take Stenberg or Reed? I would go Stenberg. I'd go Stenberg. Lamine Yamal mogs everyone. I mean, yes, that's true. He does. I remember him from the Euro and being like, how is a 16-year-old capable of such things on a soccer pitch? This is whack. Why not England? Because that's boring. And I don't like England as much as I love Scotland. So in the world of Great Britain, I have to pick one. And England is boring. So we'll do that. Um, basketball, yep, basketball's zesty. When it's not a free throw fest, basketball's fun. Yeah, it is. It's true. Wondering if you could do prospect pyramids after the draft. Really enjoyed those. Yes, I will. Would you have ranked Demidov number 1 in this draft? Yes. But yes, we'll be doing all the recaps individually and all of the teams, the pipelines individually as well. That's our summer content. So in July we'll be recording those and putting those out from July through the end of August. How would you rank Suvanto, Ignatavicius, and Morozov in terms of NHL projectability and/or ceiling? They seem to be low event BV players. Honestly, they all are sort of similar. I think that in terms of a floor, they're all relatively similar. Like, I don't think you're going to see Suvanto or Morozov in a top 6. I don't. Could it happen? Maybe. I think they're both very young. I think Suvanto has like a level of skill and like vision with the puck and passing ability that you don't usually see for a guy like that. And I think you could say the same thing for Ignatavicius. But Ignatavicius is a year older than Suvanto. Morozov, I don't think Morozov has a ton of like upside, but he's physical enough, big enough, a good enough skater to, I would say, play in a third line center role of some kind. Like, I think he moves the puck okay, like to make it work. I just don't know if you're going to get a whole lot of offense out of him. Ignatavicius, like, I don't think his like on puck like offensive game is going to be really great, but he is a guy who can sort of sniff out chances and maybe get a few goals here and there. We'll see where he could go with his development, but like, I guess they're all sort of similar floors, especially if Ignatavicius like gets a bit more physical in his game. Like, it started to sort of show up the more I watched him, but definitely trails guys like Morozov and I guess Suvanto as well. So I would say like I'd put them in the order of Suvanto, Morozov, Ignatavicius. But it's close. We gotta have a World Cup viewing at some point. Yeah, I mean, if we have time, which we might, some Canada games would be fun to do. That'd be fun. Did the email? Oh, we did that. I fear for New York if the Knicks win it all. Well, you know what? Look, I saw Gangs of New York. New York's been through worse. You'll be okay. Side note, I love that movie. It's corny and cheesy and silly, but I love it. Martin scores silly. If Gavin McKenna, Ivar Stenberg, Caleb Malhotra, and Viggo Bjork were the same height and weight, what would your ranking be? Probably the exact same. McKenna, Stenberg, Bjork, and Malhotra. Like, I don't really think about it that much. It's not how big you are, it's how you use it. It's true. Like, I've seen guys 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", play like they're 5'9", and I've seen 5'8", 5'9", 5'10" guys play like they're 6'8". You know, like it the results are what matter, and when I do my analysis, like, it's a bit of a factor, I guess, but it's more about how they play. Like, it would probably add, like, let's say they're all 6 feet tall across the board. It might decline Malhotra a bit. It would probably raise Bjork a lot, but Bjork is already really high. Like, it and so is McKenna, right? Like, I don't know. It's pretty close. Does McKenna have the highest ceiling from 16 to 26? He had a lower floor than Matthews, Dahlin, and Celebrini. I don't think so. I think he kind of, like, in terms of all the guys that have gone first overall, would I want him over like an Owen Power? Probably. Would I want him over Connor Bedard? Like, I don't think so. Like, honestly, like, with me, I see McKenna as like a very obvious number 3 in the Demidov draft. Like, Celebrini, Demidov, McKenna, like, that's kind of like, because he is kind of like Demidov, but a little more problematic in my opinion. Like, more like early season Demidov, where people were like, what is this kid? What is happening here? There might be a little bit more of that there. But I'd say in terms of like how they kind of vibe out, I think it's somewhat similar. like the floor I would say is quite low. I went to another NHL scout the other day, and I'm straight up just asking them, like, you're gonna do this, aren't you? Just to see what they say. And then we got to talking about Toronto, and I think it was also like Corey Pronman putting out his final ranking and having 3 defensemen at 1, 2, 3 ahead of McKenna and all of that. And I was like, I feel like that it's pretty clear that you're going to get either Artemi Panarin or Alexandre Daigle if he goes to Toronto. There's going to be no in between, right? Like, you draft him at 1 because you gotta hope he's the former. That's the only thing for me. Like, you can't assume that someone's going to go off the rails like Dig did. I don't think that's fair at all. But based on the story and the numbers and the results and the market he's going to, I get the feeling it's polar opposites. So in a way, yeah, like I'd say that the floor is very low potentially, but you can't know for sure right now. You won't know. And I'm betting on it. I'm betting on it because he's that good. It's just like, yeah. We'll see. But yeah. But I like, compared to like Austin Matthews and Dahlin and stuff, like, I don't know, those guys, there was not too much doubt about those guys. Yeah. Celebrini, it was more like, how high could he go? Like, for me, it was always like, it's just a matter of how much better his skating and skill combination gets, because everything else is really good. And it got really good really fast. Way faster than I thought. OHL draft is tomorrow? Yes. There's been rumors abound about that. I've seen all kinds of stuff. It's a fun time. Jordan Millette, we'll have to have him on. Because he still is working. He still is doing stuff, despite what people on the internet might say about him. Are my flowers dying? They don't look very happy. I should probably go out and water them later. Floorball is big in Europe. It is. It is. We could do better. You hope for Brazil or Portugal or the Netherlands? Yeah, I mean, the better half in the household has some Dutch ancestry, so there's a bit of that going on, maybe. Demidov better than McKenna. How's McKenna compared to Misa and Schaefer? I think Demidov showed better to me than McKenna. Like, they are similar. I would say they're similar, but I saw a little bit more pace and smarts and reliability out of Demidov than I do McKenna, but they're similar. How's McKenna compared to Misa and Schaefer? Well, I probably would have McKenna sandwiched between them. I think he's much closer to Misa than Schaefer, mostly because Schaefer has been outstanding, and I probably would take him ahead of Misa. Like, I mean, I'm thinking if Schaefer were 3 weeks older or 3 weeks younger and eligible this year, like, it would be, if he played anything like he did this year, he probably would have 120 points in the OHL. He probably would have gone to college and just probably run the show, and it would have been probably no doubt for me that he's number 1. What's the difference between Will Smith in his draft year and Gavin McKenna? That's a great question. I mean, I've thought the same thing. And I'm trying to remember with Smith. I mean, Smith's problem was he was extremely compact. Like, and I don't mean that like just like he's small, right? Like, I'm not saying like hand waving it away, he's small. But with Smith, I remember him from my experience just being very, like, I worried about his ability to separate from opponents and work under pressure. And I think McKenna is like a much better skater in terms of like driving the puck up the ice and controlling it and generating some good speed with some good footwork. And he's obviously bigger than Smith, and like those things in combination are a very good advantage. Smith, to me, like, Smith always was, he's gonna need to be a guy that thinks quickly on the puck, and he's gonna need to be a guy that plays with the right players and in your top 6 and as a winger. Like, no way was he ever gonna be a center in my books. I did not see that at all. But the skill level, I would say purely the skill level is comparable. like the passing and the creativity I think is comparable. But in terms of like the fundamentals and like some of the basics, like I think McKenna is beyond where Smith was. But you know, Smith was there's got to be a word for the kids that are born in like for this year, like 2008 and 2008, and the kids born in 2007 that are eligible this year. Like I think there is a pretty marketed difference between those two things. Like Smith would have been a birth, let's call it a birth year player, and McKenna is a late birthday. So like those two things are interesting to compare, but yeah, I see more in fundamentals that make I think a pretty big difference in McKenna. But I see the point of what you're saying. Seems like nobody knows this guy, but you tend to know a whole lot of guys. Is there anything there with Garrett Booz? Is that a basketball player? Because we don't know. We don't know who. Oh, I've clicked on his name. Did you suggest this person before? We're talking Austrians. Interesting. No, I've never seen this play. I mean, maybe I have if I've checked their name before. But I have not seen them. I don't think any NHL player has come out of the Austrian Junior League. I don't think. But he had 84 penalty minutes in 28 games and is 6'3", so someone will probably draft him. CSSHL ruins it for everyone. I mean, it definitely has shifted the storyline a little. I'll say it's quite different. Hockey can be more accessible if the hockey community tries, but in the end, it doesn't maximize profit. Fair enough. I mean, that's true. And that's kind of why I feel like local governments have to step up. And like, that's not me being like, Mark Carney should fix it. Like, I'm talking city councilors and mayors and, you know, because like, again, like you can look it up, right? The percentage of your tax dollars on a federal, provincial, if you're Canadian, federal, provincial, and local or county level, like you can look it up and see I think they have to publish that kind of thing. I get it mailed to me, so I know. But like the number of dollars that are sent relative to policing and I mean education, I would say too. Fair enough though. Like, yeah, you need to pay for education. But the amount of money that goes or the percentage that goes to things like community leisure programs and facility maintenance and all that stuff. Like I get the feeling there are a lot of young people out there who would have a lot of, because I remember when I was a kid and having a bunch of older kids that would volunteer or it would be a summer job for them to like just coach soccer leagues. Like we used to play soccer and there was like a massive field in a park and there would be like 12 games going on at once. And I mean, I'm sure that's got to be a thing still that parents do. I mean, when I go to the park around here, you still see it, but I don't really see a whole lot of like knowledge put out there that there are programs like that parents can put their kids in and they're affordable and all that. Like that's the type of thing where I'm like, yeah, like if you look at the numbers, you could make a difference there. You could make an impact there. That would make sense. Hockey, it's just tricky because everything in hockey is expensive. But that's why I would look at it and go, yeah, but you know, like you're telling me that an abandoned shopping mall parking lot couldn't be used as a ball hockey league, like temporary thing in the summers, right? Like how many mini malls are there in the suburbs of wherever everybody lives that are obviously money laundering facilities that or they're diploma mills and they just don't do anything. And it's like, you know, We'll rent out all the parking spots for 2 months this summer for whatever. I don't know. Anyway. It's possible, but it requires legwork and thinking outside the box, and I'm just not sure that that's a thing. Oh, there's a fly flying around my doorbell camera. Somehow a really nasty looking flying insect got in my house last night. The doors weren't open. The windows weren't open. I don't know how that's even possible, but I don't know. Very strange. But I caught it. Are people in here insect murderers or insect saviors? Like if you catch a flying insect in your home, are you releasing it to the wild or are you throwing it in the incinerator? For me, it depends on the bug. Like spiders, I save spiders because spiders eat bugs. The last thing I'll kill is a house centipede, by the way, of which I actually have not seen one in a while down here. Maybe that means that we're doing an okay job controlling the insect population within our own house. But I miss them. I used to hang out with the house centipedes down here, and I kind of liked them. Once I learned about them, and like I have a neighbor who's a what's it called? Like an exterminator guy or like a wildlife management. Like if you have a raccoon living under your deck, you call him. And somehow we were talking about that, and I was talking to him about the house centipedes that live in my basement at like a community little barbecue thing we were doing. And he's like, oh yeah, like usually I tell people I don't kill those. Like if they see them in their house, I go, those things are good. Like you don't want to, they're predators, you know? Like they're predators for stuff you don't want in your house. And so if they're there, it means that, you know, maybe you have a bug problem, but like they're the natural antidote, you know, and that's why they're there. So I miss them. They're scary looking. They're ugly. Well, not ugly, but they're scary looking. They're like something out of a horror film, or like an alien or something. But they're cool. They're really fast, and that's kind of spooky. But they're fun. Like you see one and you go ah, and then I say hello to them. Like I say hello. I spend a lot of time on my own. My better half goes into the city for work every day. And so I have days here. So I am a little nuts. I am a little nuts. I live in basically my basement all day, most days. Not today. I spent the morning writing upstairs. But I end up talking a lot to myself. And so when I see a house centipede, I go, hello, Mr. Centipede or Ms. Centipede. I don't judge. I don't know how to discern the gender of a house centipede. But we're pals. I am very well adjusted and normal, I swear. People I know, I think they like me. My mom likes me. She said, I talked to her this morning. She said she liked me. So I think I'm normal. I can't be the only person who, when they're alone, words come out of their mouth where they go, I just said that. Or I just did that. Anyway. Like I yelled at my coffee machine the other day. Because when I put the filter in the coffee machine and put the filter thing in the coffee machine, it folded the filter over and then coffee crap went everywhere because it just overflowed because the filter was folded all over the place. And I yelled at it. I was like, you swear word, stupid machine with your stupid flaps and stupid dumb piece of whatever. And I was like, I am alone in my home and I'm yelling at my coffee machine. Life is worth living. This is not what I need to be doing. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Is Koblar going to win with Norway? Well, he's a Toronto Maple Leaf, so he's never going to win with anybody. Morocco going on a run. I've heard they're quite good. I've heard there are people who are excited about the Moroccan team this year, and I do remember them being quite good at the last World Cup. I think they went decently far. Didn't they go to fourth place? Something like that? Didn't they get to the third place match and lose? I feel like they went all the way, almost. Any thoughts on Max Sokolovsky? There's been a lot of love for him at the combine, even top 20 talk for a decent amount of draft analysts. I'll just say it. I don't like him. I don't see it with him at all. Like, I think a lot of people saw him play Brady Martin in the playoffs and saw him mogging Brady Martin, like breaking the rules to keep chasing around Brady Martin and doing whatever it is to get him off his game. And I think that just exposed so many problems. People have said, oh, he got a lot better towards the end of the year. I don't get it. He's humongous. He's very big. But I mean, unless you're, I just in the first round, I cannot imagine going after a guy like him. Like, I just don't see it. Like, we also did a game of his in the server not too long ago. I was like, look, if I'm wrong, like if I'm crazy, I really, really want people to point it out. I don't want to just like have everybody agreeing with me, and that's not what happens, right? But in that case, yeah, no. I did not vibe with Sokolovsky. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, it really felt like his job, like Mark Hunter or Dale Hunter went to him and was like, you see number 44 on the other team? Just kill that guy. Go get him. That's your job. We're going to play it 20 minutes because we're going to match you up against him. Even if he cuts all the way across the ice on the other side of the ice, you follow him and chase after him and hit him into the boards, even if he passed the puck 5 seconds before. And if you go to the penalty box, so be it. And then you could see Brady Martin like was frustrated and annoyed by that, which fair enough. But I don't think that makes you a top level prospect at all. I don't know. I don't see it. I know I'm not the only one. Yeah, but again, like, who knows? A team could draft him and maybe he's an AHLer in 5 years and gets waived, and then some team picks him up and he's Nico Mikkola and wins a Stanley Cup. Like, who knows? Who knows? But he's not my type of guy that I'm targeting that high. Like, if we're, I don't know, like if we're gonna toss certain players out for something, but then elevate other ones that high, way ahead of those ones, I think you got to be really careful as to the logic behind that. Because with him, I have not seen it. How many of your top 50 will be available for the Rangers with their 4th round picks? Probably quite a few. And I look forward to them skipping over all of them. Like probably quite a few of them. Like, I would be surprised if guys like Svensk and Sorensen and Plant even, maybe. Shrenko might be available there. Ustavara Carlson would be there. I'm almost certain of it. Halfley, Steiner, Jordan Duguay. I bet all those guys are still going to be there. Luke Scherer, Yelize Ryabikin, Matthias Van Hanen, Morgan Anderberg. Yeah, those guys all probably to mixed level will probably be there. Germany could do some damage even though they've struggled quite a bit. Well, we'll see. Piggybacking off Simon St. Laurent's latest video, have you seen Jacob Furlow, and what are your thoughts? Not that much. I've seen a couple games of him, and I was not particularly taken. It's one of those things where it's like, I didn't think there was anything negative about the guy, but at that point in the season, when I looked at my list and who the guys were at the end of the list, was Furlow better than them? Not really. At least I wasn't as excited about him as I was the other guys. Like, he's an interesting player. He's not bad. But I also did not get as many looks at him as maybe I should have. But yeah, no. Didn't really cross my Rubicon, so to speak. Opinion on calories? Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean. Like, calories is a pretty great thing in general, because it really simplifies some it really simplifies, like, to me, calories are like the equivalent of like a global market based ETF. It's like there is a $1 trillion industry surrounding getting healthy and working out and losing weight and looking good and everything you want to talk about. And there's a $1 trillion industry around selling you funds and selling you financial products and this and this and this. And at the end of the day, it's just calories in, calories out. You know, like, just watch, just be aware of what you're putting in your body, you know, just and create a calorie deficit without starving yourself, of course, and you'll be okay, and it'll work. It'll happen. It's not that complicated. I like doing cardio, so yeah, working out your heart definitely helps, but at the end of the day, if that's what you do, you can achieve goals doing that. Like, if you drink beer, stop drinking beer and you'll probably lose weight. As long as you don't replace it with something else. But if you replace it with water and still eat a normal amount, you're going to have less calories going in your body. So at the very least, the rate of weight gain will go down. Like an ETF that trades global markets that are weighted by market capitalization, you could just buy those every month for whatever, and by the time you're 75, unless the world comes to an end, you'll be doing just fine. You'll be doing just fine. And you don't have to pay the fees are like under 0.25% a year. So, like, who cares? Some are lower than that. Why do you need a financial advisor when you can just open a brokerage account and just, you know, buy a global index fund and maybe a bond fund if you want, or Canadian banks, and just let it ride until the day that you retire, and you'll probably do just fine, never having to speak with a financial advisor ever. But there's a huge industry around these things, and everybody has an opinion on them. But if you really boil it down, it's just calories in, calories out. It's just money in, index funds out, and sit on it. Who's the largest jump a player has made, in your opinion, from draft year to +1 ever? That's a very good question. I mean, it might be Schaefer. That might be recency bias. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it might be Schaefer. I can't think of another one. How much separation or projection difference is there for right defenseman from Blyle to Gollier? It's a hard question to answer because they're very different players. I mean, I like Blyle more because there's more like upside to his style of play. Like, he could be a more impressive player. Like, Gollier is very good at lots of things, and I think could be a solid defensive leaning defenseman. Like, I don't think there's a whole lot of offensive tools in his game really that much. Whereas like, on the other hand, you have like a Blyle who just goes and has offensive potential, and that's a lot of the bet you're making. So, yeah. I think there's a lower downside to Blyle, but I don't have that many real concerns long term. Like, I don't know, but Gollier is a solid player, but I don't think he has that like super high end offensive toolkit. At least I didn't see it as much of him as Blyle. If a player was 4'2" trying to use his size compared to a 6'7" not using his size, well, yes. Like, if I yeah, okay. Yeah, but like Sure. You know, that's like if you asked me to use $95 efficiently or $110 efficiently, and I was like, well, I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs. Like, it's not that big of a difference. And you're like, well, if I gave you $5 and $1 million, then it would be different. It's like, well, thanks. Like, obviously, but it's not the point. Do you already have fun prospects in mind for the 2027 will inevitably fall? 2027. I mean, Bosse Meyer is a guy that I get the feeling will go later because he's a little small, but I really like him. Maybe Brock Englund is a candidate for that. It's usually probably you can bet on the smaller guys. We'll see. I mean, there might be some Russians that, like, the Russians next year are really good, and people might, like, because NHL teams, I think, are a little wary of drafting out of Russia, they might kind of forget about some of them and not value them that much. I also really like Mirko Dufour. He's a guy that I've always liked. He's like a depth guy for Everett, but maybe he plays a lot more next year, and people might forget about him. Yeah, there's a few. David Hook, maybe. He's a Czech guy. I don't know if I would throw him in that basket right now. At least not sure about it right now. Yeah. Nurse trade coming in. Interesting. Hopefully that'll be a very interesting deal to see. The Oilers are doing stuff, and I'm excited. If McKenna reaches his best, not focusing at all on floor, isn't that what you asked? Yeah, you did ask. Does he have the highest ceiling yet with a lower floor? So I answered your question. Does Axel Elofsson have first-round offensive talent, or is he just on a really good Oilers team? I mean, he... in my experience with him, he plays like Cale Makar without having any of the projectable fundamentals that Cale Makar has. Like, he is a very, very confident, very, very reckless offensive player once the puck is in the offensive zone, and everywhere else I've had problems with him. I don't have him ranked. I don't really think there's much there that I would be willing to, like, maybe in the mid rounds to late, I would take a swing on him. Like, I think that he is very much of, like, cut from the Luka Radivojevich cloth, where, like, Radivojevich, I think, you know, they're at least comparable, and he didn't get drafted. Like, I just think that, and I don't think Elofsson did himself any favors at the under 18s. Like, that was a place where if you were going to look like a first round pick, like, the dynamic offensive defenseman style of play should have been there. And you go, well, I'm not super worried about the downside. But to me, in my experience, like, the downside was on display very often. And I think there are a lot of people who had him in the top 40 going into that tournament, who, there's a couple of guys that I've had in the second round that after that tournament, they go, okay, yeah, he's a second round pick. Or maybe at best is that. But yeah, no, I don't see him as a first round talent. Calgary fan here. So I hear a lot of Carroll's hype. I'm not sure I understand the Sanderson comps or upside I see in him. Are they mostly assuming production translates 1-to-1? I don't know, man. Like, people are just talking. I don't think people who are saying that watched Jake Sanderson that much, and I don't think people saying that, there might be a whole bunch of people who also didn't really watch a whole lot of Carson Carroll's. Like, Jake Sanderson, like, I've taken a lot of crap over the years because I had him, like, at 12 or whatever, like, going into the draft a little lower than average, but it's pretty undeniable that, number one, that's a player that the style and the feeling that I had watching him, especially down the stretch, was like, yeah, I should have valued him more, and I'm trying to avoid making that mistake again when I see a player play like that, because the difference between the first and second half Jake Sanderson was night and day. Like, it was like a light switch went off, and all of a sudden he became an excellent defensive player. And for me, my thing was like, well, the offense is whatever. Like, I don't know if there is a Jake Sanderson this year or a similar player. Like, maybe Malte Gustafsson is kind of like that. But Sanderson, like for the youth that he has or had, the skating ability and the way he defended was so beyond whatever. I think with Keaton Verhoff, you have to, with Carroll's, I don't see the skating and the active feet that Sanderson had. And I just don't think they're comparable. Like, when I watched Sanderson, I went, wow, this kid can really skate, and wow, this kid can really play off the puck defensively. Carroll can play off the puck pretty well defensively, but it has to be on his terms. Like, that's my problem, is like Carroll's is very good so long as the game is in a comfort zone for him. And I think there's a lot of Canadian players that play like that. If the game is in a comfort zone that they are comfortable with, like the state that they're in, then they can be very effective. But like adapting to things that push the envelope for them, like if you chip and chase on Carroll's or cut inside on him and attack an inside lane, or or if you choose just not to hang on to the puck too long on an offensive entry and do something with it. Like, Carroll's is a guy you can get around. You can't say the same for Sanderson at the same age. I don't know. Look, like, if that's what he turns out to be, then great. That's awesome. But I just will never agree with, like, this player equals elite NHL player that does very difficult things extremely well, and I can see it when he's 17. Like, I don't think you can do that. At least it's not fair. And it's like, well, it's not fair, but it's just like a bad, like if Carson Carroll ends up I don't know, who could he be? Like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. But yeah, like, I'm trying to be as honest as I can, thinking back to Jake Sanderson. Like, I don't think it's the same. No shot, he's Daigle. That's pretty stupid. That's McKenna. Well, I'll tell you, some NHL teams are thinking that, man. I don't know. Like, people didn't think Alexandre Daigle was going to be Alexandre Daigle when Alexandre Daigle was Alexandre Daigle. Like, nobody was looking at Daigle at the time going like, oh, this guy's going to flame out, you know? Look, there are reasons for that, right? Like, teams see him getting thrown out of hockey games for throwing temper tantrums on the ice. Teams see him getting thrown out of the World Juniors when they're losing to the Czech Republic. Teams see him getting in trouble off the ice and putting himself in tough spots. And he's going to a place where if you can't handle the fire that fans can bring because they're so insane, you either push it aside and deal with it, or you crumble. Like, the story writes itself for me. Like, McKenna has on-ice stuff that is problematic. His shot selection is very bad. There is no physical part of his game whatsoever. His defensive work in transition is well behind many other guys. Like, his game is very exceptionally good in a very important but relatively limited area of the game. And if things go not so great because teams can exploit that and they don't adapt and adjust and he doesn't mature his game, then, like, no one was suggesting McKenna was Daigle a year prior. Well, that's because nobody really thought about looking at the flaws in his game. I had McKenna at 5 going into this year, right? So one person was. Like, and I'm not saying he's Alexandre Daigle, but it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but think about the storylines. Could it sound familiar in 10 years that this elite, skilled player that is just all playmaking offense, and that is really all he has, but it's a really, really great area of the game? Like, if that's the player and he goes to Toronto, a team that desperately needs to get better immediately, in a market that will tear you to pieces if you're not up to the perceived performance level that someone deems you require. And they go to the playoffs. He has 1 assist in the 7-game series Toronto loses. If that's like, I don't know, it depends on how you handle that as an individual. And like, when I watch McKenna, I think there is a level of arrogance in his game that is very frustrating and very weird. Like, don't come crying to me if Gavin McKenna on a breakout gets a pass from a defenseman on the half wall in his own end and just rifles it up the middle of the ice looking for the high end play, and it gets picked off and comes back the other way in a playoff game, and everybody freaks out. Because it's something that he does, but you live with it because of the benefits that he brings. You live with it because when it works, it's awesome. So all I'm saying is that the story is possible. And I know that NHL teams are thinking about it. Like, especially because it's Toronto. If it were Columbus, whatever, right? Like, I don't think that it's the same environment. But, like, the expectations on him day one, like, if you go look at the discussion forums for Toronto Maple Leaf fans, like, they are militantly against any suggestion that he is anything but the greatest thing to ever happen. Right? You know, so like, all I'm saying is that for McKenna, the storyline there, and he has a track record that you can look at and go, that wasn't awesome. That wasn't awesome. Ugh. But then at the end of the day, he has 3 assists and he's awesome and he's sick and everything's awesome. So like, all I'm trying to do, especially for a guy that's going first overall, all I'm trying to do is make a case for what is there. And look, I know that like Corey Pronman has him at 4. I think he knows the same things. I think people tell him the same things. Right? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's that absurd with a player that skilled and that talented having a very divergent range of possibilities in his career. Outside of Lafreniere, who's the last first overall pick forward who busted. Look, I am telling you, the individual case study in this work is what matters. I could not give a shit of the track record of first overall picks. I don't care. I'm analyzing the player. This is the problem with data analysis. I'm the data guy. I hate when I see people be like, this guy's a 38% chance of being a star, and then just leaving it, and everybody like takes it at face value. Like, if anything, you should be curious about what the 38% is about and what made it a problem. And I'll tell you, watching Alexis Lafreniere in 2020, like, I was one of the only people who suggested that someone else might be giving him a run for his money at number 1. I had the audacity to suggest that Quinton Byfield was right there with him, and Rossi, Raymond, and Stützle were also not that far behind, but I wouldn't have taken them ahead. Like, Lafreniere also was a very frustrating player to watch. He had really bad habits when he was that age, and also lacked a defensive game, lacked a true high volume scoring forwards offensive game. McKenna has gaps in his game. The Rangers just took Lafreniere and tried to turn him into some two-way guy instead of like working on the bigger picture and making him more of a purely skilled and, you know, I don't know what happened to Lafreniere, but like, if there is a player that could be this high, like, if there's a player this high that has comparable habits and comparable like when I watch them, I go, wow. It's McKenna. But the difference is McKenna is significantly more skilled, significantly more like relentless with his playmaking, a higher pace player. I have a lot less concerns about McKenna in my gut than I do about Lafreniere. But the problems with McKenna are more about mentality and psyche. Like like, how is he going to handle Toronto? How is Toronto, like, how are the fans in Toronto going to handle him? Right? Like, it almost, like, it doesn't matter because it, like, again, look, this is getting tiring. But there is, like, if you watch Gavin McKenna play hockey, if you watch him play hockey, he got better this year. But man, can he be frustrating to watch sometimes. Like, he plays like he knows he's better than everybody. And in the NHL, I don't care who you are, almost nobody can do that. Like, you show me a player that plays with a level of skill and individuality that can, like, you're looking at hopefully a Kucherov. Hopefully he's Panarin even. But Panarin is actually a decent two-way impact guy. Like, all I'm saying is, like, and again, like, I'm not the only one who thinks this. It's just that in the public, nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to, because it's like, oh, like, you don't want to come off sounding like you're hating somebody. And I don't. Like, he's number one on my list. But I know for a fact that there are NHL teams, there are people in the NHL who, like, Corey, like, we just read an article in The Athletic where multiple scouts and executives raised concerns about him and also said that the top end of this class is a lot closer than people are leading on. Right? A lot closer. And I agree. I've said that all year. So, like, it's something that people are thinking. And you can think it's stupid. You can look at his, like, I saw you post, oh, he scored this much and he scored this and this and this and this. Who cares? That's not the point. That's not the point. I'm taking him. I'm telling you, I am taking him. But I am also saying that you're making a bet. You are making a bet. And yeah, I would think that at the combine, I would have pushed him. I would have pushed him a little. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I have evidence. It's not like I'm picking on him, right? Like, what was it? Now we're hearing stories of how Albert Schmitz is arrogant and, like, did not come off very well to NHL teams. Number one, clearly you've never spoken to a Latvian person or an Eastern European at all ever in your life. Number two, like, I think it's ridiculous that, like, when people asked him, like, did you do any weird stuff with teams? And he says no. But, like, Caleb Malhotra gets a puck handed to him and says, hey, throw it in a bin from wherever, and then a slap on the back when he makes a joke about it and goes, yuck, 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 what a cool kid. And then they come away being like, man, that Schmitz guy, I don't know about him. It's like, what are you talking about? He just got an award for, like, commitment to the sport and, like, being a premier example of where the sport is going. And people are like, I don't know. He went to the Olympics and, like it's like, what are we doing here? I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just craziness. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Do you think we're overcorrecting a bit much with McKenna? Dude, he's at 1 on my list. He's the guy. You're taking him. But, like, look, you can't set aside the things that are there. Like, watch him play hockey. Watch him play against Michigan and Wisconsin. Like, watch him play the last few games of the year if you can. Just, like, at even strength, watch him play. Because he's not a bad hockey player, but he is frustrating at times. And clearly, there are many examples this season of him also being frustrated. Like, I have him at 1 because I don't really care so much about that side of things. That's what player development is for. That's what sports psychology is for. You should be able to handle that, I think. But it really, really drives me nuts when he gets handled, when he does that kind of thing, and it kind of gets hand waved away. Right? It's like, oh, well, boys will be boys or whatever. And like, but if someone else has some sort of like concern or off ice thing that like, you know, like I didn't see Mathis Preston getting thrown out of games for like yelling at referees and being pissed off and like throwing his hand. Like, I didn't see that, but people have this narrative about him. Like, I don't know. I'm looking at what's there. That's all I'm doing. And I don't think you can like hand wave it away and go, we're being too nitpicky. It's like, imagine the Toronto Maple Leafs draft him and imagine the scenario where it was like something happens and he doesn't live up to the standards that people expect, whatever that is, right? Who knows what that means. And it becomes a circus because it's Toronto, and Toronto can't avoid a circus for longer than 3 years, right? Who knows? Let's say that happens, and it comes out that it's like, well, they didn't really do any due diligence when they drafted him. They just said, like, let's not really think about that too much and move on. Like, you would instantly be like, fire John Chayka right away, right now. Fire him, get him out of here. I mean, people are already doing that, but like, you have to be nitpicky. Especially with a pick on it, like the Toronto Maple Leafs do not have an option to be bad again next year or the year after. Like, unless they want to hand over lottery picks to other teams. Like, they don't have that option. So whether he likes it or not, the expectations are going to be very, very high, very, very fast. Especially if he plays with Austin Matthews or something. Like, I'm sorry, but like, this is what you want. This is your ultimate test. This is how it's going to go. Welcome to the city, pal. So it better go well. I like, how quickly do you think it will take for the guys on Overdrive or Craig Button to show up on TSN and, you know, who like, how long do you think it'll take for them to be like, uh-oh, should we be concerned? Like, how long do you think it'll take until we see an Instagram thumbnail that says, should we be concerned about Gavin McKenna? Is it time to worry about Gavin McKenna? Like, December? January, if Toronto's not in the playoff spot, even if it isn't his fault. Like, let's say they can't fix the defense group there. Even if it isn't his fault. Like, that's, I don't know. Like, I could see that happening. And how he handles that, how the team handles that and deals with that and everything, that will matter. That'll matter. And with Alexandre Daigle, the Ottawa Senators did not handle it very well. The Ottawa Senators did take it out on him. Watch the documentary about him. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. I get the feeling if Alexandre Daigle was eligible this year, he probably could be a superstar. Same thing could be said about McKenna. Like, it sounds asinine and insane until it potentially happens. I don't think they give him the benefit of the doubt if the team is bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But if the Toronto Maple Leafs are not good, like, some group of people will have him in the crosshairs. Right? Like, I don't know. And again, like, I'm just telling you a reality that is there. Right? Like, so look, he's number one for me. He's the best player available. I'm just saying, like, there is a thing, and it is it is talked about. It has come up. And again, Corey Pronman had him at 4. Oh, I think people would forget about a Mitch Marner situation awfully fast. I think Toronto and the media and the fans are going to awfully quickly go, Mitch Marner who? You might be very young, but I'm old enough to know that I've been around the block. You're telling me that, like, some of, like, Steve Simmons is not going to be whipping up some sort of vitriol, like, in January, if the team is not in a playoff spot. I don't know. Look, I'm being cynical, but I'm being cynical because there's evidence to at least entertain, like, the thought experiment. I don't know. Dude, what do you mean Steve Simmons? Are you like 20? Because, like, you clearly don't understand how much reach a guy like Simmons still has. If he was barely considered useful, he wouldn't have a press pass for the Leafs. He is a master at getting people to pay attention to him. You underestimate Steve Simmons, man. You underestimate the capabilities of people in Toronto, right? Like, go back to the World Juniors. Like, look at, I remember Jeff O'Neill just hammering Gavin McKenna at the World Juniors, man. He was hammering him. Partially, I would argue, not for the right reasons, but he is going to be under the microscope. And all I'm saying, because Alexandre Daigle was under the microscope from day one. He was the savior of that franchise from day one. And as soon as it went south, everybody piled on him. He was a problematic individual, problematic this, problematic that, and everybody threw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with McKenna, but how that type of situation could be handled, that's what will matter. That's what will matter. Dude, do you have any idea how many people read the Toronto Star? Do you have any idea? Like, you must live on the internet, and I will tell you, the internet is not real life. Like, all the in-laws, all the uncles that live in Bowmanville love Steve Simmons, probably. The number of why do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs went out and got guys like Simone Benoit and brought in Craig Berube, and that's to satisfy, like, that satisfies the uncles. That satisfies the Steve Simmonses and the Damian Coxes of the world. That's their zeitgeist. That's what they want. They want a big, tough, strong team, and they see Gavin McKenna. I would be very surprised if they didn't see Gavin McKenna as too small, too soft, too weak, can't work in the NHL. It was a mistake to draft him. The Toronto Maple Leafs are never going to make the playoffs again, and they should trade Austin Matthews. Like, I wouldn't put it past them. And it would get people to read their news articles. That's the point, right? Like, it would get them attention. So there's an incentive for them to do that. Rightly or wrongly. Look, like, I'm just saying that I think it's a potential reality, but it's not something that I'm so concerned about that I'm not doing it. Like, all I'm saying is that the thought is entertained, and the thought is out there, and the league is I'm not the only one. Like, you can think it's stupid all you want. You can think it's asinine. You can think it's insane, but it's insane until it happens, you know? Stranger things have happened, especially when you look at, like, the evidence for it. Stranger things have happened. Anyway, I don't want to do this for another half an hour because it's also it just makes me sound like I hate the kid and I hope he fails. That's not what I'm saying either. Dude, you're just not getting it. You're just not getting it. Like, it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Oh, it just doesn't matter. Nobody cares. They just do it. They do it for the eyeballs, and it gets people riled up and annoyed and upset, and that's just how it goes. Yeah, World Cup is happening. I saw Mexico scored a goal. Very nice. Why have you ranked Chase Reed so low compared to all these scouting reports? Most have the Sharks drafting him at second overall. Because I'm not sure he's that. I think his defensive game is problematic in his own end. In-zone defending is not very evident. And I think his offensive game is good, but not great. I think he's interesting. I think he's a great puck carrier. I think he's a great neutral zone passer. I think he has some good value. If you wanted him as high as 6, maybe 5, 6-ish, 5, I could see it. But I'm not betting on it if I'm there. Like, if I'm the Sharks at second overall, I look at their lineup and I go, I don't think their forward group is done either. Right? Like, Philip Kurashev and stuff are still floating around. And that's with Chernyshov on the lineup. Like, I don't think Quentin Musty's going to come and save you immediately. I don't think they're done. And having another Swede to play with a William Eklund, who I think would play off of Stenberg very well, I think could be a good bet too. And you have another first round pick. You're going to have a good option at 20 to draft a defenseman. Like, if Xavier Villeneuve becomes what he could be, you're going to be happy you have him, and he's probably there at 20. Like, I've got Villeneuve ahead of Reed. Like, I again, I've said this a billion times, but I think he is beyond where Lane Hudson was at this age. And I think people are really quick to throw him out. And I think you give him some time in college. And I bet a lot of those problems on the back end are looking a lot less problematic over time. And you picked him at 20. You went for a guy that can help you now up front in Stenberg. And in a year or two, you could have an excellent defenseman on the team. I don't think the thing that about the Sharks is everybody, it seems like Sharks fans are thinking that one of these guys is just going to step in and be like, again, we had this debate on Monday, but I don't think the Sharks game should be to keep rebuilding for another year. Like, I think that they were a team that was a threat for a playoff spot in some way this year. And I would be wanting to lean into that. So if your defense is a gap, which it is, why are you drafting a guy that you're not going to see for a year or two? I agree. I love Villeneuve's work in the Doom movies too. That alone should put him in the first round. But I also just don't think you draft a guy because, our team needs him now. Our team doesn't have that many good defensemen now, so we need to pick him. It's like, well, do ya? No, he was ahead of Hudson? Dude, bruh. No, that's just, no. Villeneuve was arguably one of the best defensemen at the under-18s last year, right? I think that is a very awfully convenient thing to say about Lane Hudson now that it's worked out. Like, I think that's awfully convenient, right? I think that the explosiveness, the skating ability, the edges on Villeneuve are way beyond where Hudson was at this age. Hudson, and I think his defensive game is way beyond where Hudson was at this age. People are throwing out Villeneuve's defensive game, but boy, Hudson had a really hard time defending. He had a really hard time track and play laterally and defending the front of the net, and now he's more than passable, but it was rough when he was 17. That was the thing I think a lot of people were spooked about. I think that's an awfully convenient point of view to say, oh, yeah, it's impossible to say he's beyond Hudson because Hudson was so good and everybody, yeah. I had Hudson in my first round, man. I thought he was really good, but when I watch Villeneuve, I go, that guy is looking a lot more like how I remember Quinn Hughes looked in his draft year, or like one of those Cale Makar types. That's where I go, yeah, that's where I'm thinking. Have you watched the AHL playoffs? Not really. Sweden repeats World Junior Gold. It's possible. Canada's gonna have a good team again. Ugh, I don't know. If you're the team that drafts Stenberg this year, would you play him in the league this year or keep him in Sweden an extra year? I mean, I'd give him a look. You can always loan him back. I'd give him a good look and see what happens in the NHL this year. Take a peek and see what happens, and then if he looks good and looks comfortable. I mean, the Sharks could also, like, they should be getting better. I don't think Stenberg would make them worse. Like, would I rather have him on the team, or like, who's been playing fourth line? Like, I don't know. Not saying you should play Stenberg on your fourth line, but, you know, like, is he going to bring more value than Ryan Reeves? You know, like, yeah, like, is he going to bring you more value than Ty Dellandrea or Pavel Regenda, or, you know, possibly, yeah. Like, they have a good forward group. Don't get me wrong. It's already pretty good, and they do need defensemen. But I don't think that means you draft one at 2. I think you get a pretty good one at 22. What do you think is Viggo Sorensen's best selling points as an undervalued prospect? I mean, he has a skating ability and a skill level that is at worst on par with many guys that'll go in the first round. Like, he is an exciting, the excitement factor in his game is significantly higher than a lot of the guys likely to be drafted ahead of him. Like, you just watch him, and I'm surprised more people aren't thinking it, but you watch him at the World Under-18s this year, and you're like, he's like, you can, like, compare him to Elton Hermansson. Everybody was noticing Hermansson, but boy, Sorensen had some unbelievable plays too. And Hermansson might go in the middle of the first round, and Sorensen might be a flyer that teams take in the middle rounds. Just in general, you just sit back and go, does this guy look like a first-round pick compared to the guys he's playing against who also might be first-round picks, or playing with who might be first-round picks? He kind of looks awfully close. Like, it's just the excitement factor in his game. Apparently, Chicago likes Verhoff, according to Cam Robinson. If they choose him at 4, would it be a mistake considering his hockey IQ is a potential? No, I don't think it would be a mistake. It would be a gamble. It would be a bet on his development. But I like Verhoff. Like, I came into the season a little lower on Verhoff than most, but I think people have overcorrected a little bit here. I don't think you can take away from him how challenging the season was for him. And I mean, look, like, he could have gone back to junior hockey, scored 40 goals, had 90 points, and everybody would be like, wow, this guy's elite. You draft this. Who's Chase Reed? Who cares? Who's this, you know, whoever. Like, let's draft the 40 goal scorer, 2008 born defenseman who, whatever. I don't think anybody bats an eye at that thought. And he was challenged this year. And I think if the goal is to draft a strong defensive player that doesn't need to play super physical a whole lot, you probably do quite well with Verhoff. I think that's the understated part of his game. Like, I think defensively, his stick checking ability is fantastic beyond many other guys. His awareness and off puck awareness is really, really good. And I think that you see hints of playmaking and offense that he wasn't really rewarded for. So at 4, like, I mean, I might have better players that I would aim at, but he'd be a pretty good option. And it could be a good bet. there's a chance, I think, that you might pay for it. Like, he might not come along as far as he needs to be worth picking that high. But if you're optimistic about him, I get why, and I would not be upset. I could see it. Wyatt Cullen's a sneaky good fantasy hockey pick, dynamic player and super young. Do you see shades of Potter? Not really. I mean, I see Potter as a center. I don't think Cullen has Wyatt Cullen. I don't think Wyatt Cullen has like the like he's very like give me the puck and I will do something with it type. Potter was much more energetic on both sides of the puck and I think a better skater, like speedier. Wyatt Cullen is much more like shifty. Like he kind of uses his outside edges and just kind of like navigates around pressure really well and just kind of dipsy doodle dangles a lot. Potter doesn't really do that. He's just like go. Both sides of the puck no matter what. And I just think they're a little different. Could they play together? Yeah, Cullen Potter and the Cullen Potter line in Calgary, that would be fun. Do I remember how NHL execs talked about Lafreniere? Not really. I could go back, but it seemed pretty unanimous that he was the guy. I don't know. You could Google it. The E.J. McGuire Award for Excellence for the prospect who exemplifies commitment to excellence through strength of character, competitiveness, and athleticism. Sounds like a really bad guy. Sounds like an awful kid, the one who wins that one. Victor Fyodorov. I like watching him. I don't think he's going to work out. He's on my list towards the end because he's fun to watch and probably should get drafted. He's energetic. He goes and hits and all that stuff, but I don't think I see as much there. Thoughts on Oleg Kulibyakin? I haven't been a huge fan. I've seen him a few times. He's another one of those guys like Frollo where it's like if you like him, you like him. Fair enough. But like when I look at the guys at the tail end of my list and my own experience, does he replace any of those? Not really. You know? Like at a certain point in the year, I go, do you like this guy or this guy? And it's like Verdi Svensk and Wiggo Sorensen or Jacob Frollo. And I go, the previous two, one of them. And you could probably get them both later on in the draft. And I go, okay, so then who cares? Why do I care so much about, why would I care at all about Frollo if I have two other guys that are probably there in the 7th round that I would draft before them for sure, based on my experience. But I will also say that I'm only one person. I can't do everything and see everybody and watch every game of everybody all the time, so I may be missing something. And that's why if I were on an NHL team, I would want 5 of me doing this and grinding video and grinding data and putting stuff together and challenging each other on this stuff. Because I'm only me, so maybe I'm missing something. Do you remember what the book was on Seider in 2019 and how crazy it was for Yzerman to take him? I mean, it was crazy. It was insane. But people did catch on to Seider right at the end there. But it was a surprise. And again, I think it's also something that just goes to show that people pretend like they know everything, especially in the draft. They think a thing is just this. It can't be any other way because I think it is, and everybody else on Reddit thinks it is, and so therefore it's going to be a certain way. And I just kind of go, okay, but like, you don't know. NHL teams may disagree. They are different. They don't care what you think. They don't care what other people think. Generally, I would hope. But but Detroit drafting him was a surprise. But I do remember him being like he's a good defensive player and he's got good feet under him and who knows where he could go. And then pretty quickly the next year, I remember watching him going, oh yeah, Detroit was right. They and with Seider that year, he was one of the guys that I just didn't see that much of. It was a little before my time too. I just didn't see that much of him. It was also pretty hard at that time for me to see him because I didn't have the access I do now. But Detroit was onto something there. Turcotte makes me sad. I really hoped Turcotte would work out because he was extremely good. Any opinion on Julian Mays? Scores a lot, but possibly a locker room cancer. Yeah. The talk on him is not amazing, rightly or wrongly. That's what it seems. It seems like people are not super happy about him. But he is a very fun player to watch. I don't have him ranked. I won't have him ranked. I know some people really like him though. He's fast and exciting and skilled, but I think he is very, very small and has problems that come with smaller players. So, yeah, I could see why people would like him. He's fun to watch. Admirable player with the puck on his stick, but I remember watching him and being like, yeah, a little bit of a reckless and frustrating guy. You know, that was my read on him. I just kind of went, I don't know. Maybe someone can fix him. And if someone was like, I love him, and it's the 7th round, like I kind of feel similarly about him watching him play as I did like Max Swanson, you know? Like I liked Max Swanson. He was a fun player, but like he just was small and really skill reliant and just didn't really cross the bridge for me that much. But he got drafted anyway, and who knows? Maybe it'll work. Without going into too much detail, what did he do? Well, he could and should have been a very high draft pick in the WHL draft. And the reputation on him was not super awesome. And Everett drafted him because they're Everett and they are pretty smart, and they went, we can work with this. It's worth drafting him here. And I think it's pretty telling that they traded him for someone born in the same year pretty quickly. And then he got traded again this year from Regina. Like I heard that was pretty messy. That situation in Regina this year was pretty messy, and it got pretty ugly. So, yeah. It's just something that's followed him around since AAA days, I think, if you ask some people who know more than me. How long would you count Montreal's rebuild? People are acting as if it was quick. To me, it starts in 2019-20. I mean, yeah, I mean, probably something like that. I mean, they did go to the Cup final, so it's a little strange to think that they were in a rebuild when they went to the Cup final, but that was a really weird year, and our expectations were not high. I don't know. It is whatever you believe it to be. Is Malhotra potentially the next Turcotte or Doc, highly touted and hasn't panned out? I mean, kinda. I wouldn't draft him that high, the way people are talking about him. I wouldn't draft him that high. And I've had a couple of people who are smarter than me, who don't watch a whole lot of NHL, be like, I saw some Caleb Malhotra, and what third? Really? Like top 5? Like if Vancouver were drafting 15th overall, I don't know if Caleb Malhotra's talked about as a top 5 guy. And I think that's pretty telling. I don't like assuming that. And I know you said potentially. I think Malhotra has stuff that should work in the NHL. I think he's got some traits that should work, for sure. And if you really believe in him and you really see some upside potential and all that stuff, then so be it. Go for it. But it wouldn't be my call. Like, I think a lot of the stuff that people say about Caleb Malhotra is true with Tynan Lawrence. Like, that's the guy I think that, like, it's really funny to me, like, seeing the way people talk about a player. And I go, if you want that, I don't think that's this guy. I think that's this other guy that people say. Like, I think if you copy pasted what people say about Malhotra, well, maybe not, because people are accurately identifying Lawrence, I think, his strengths and issues. But yeah. Doc had injuries. Yeah, I mean, Doc, the thing with Doc at this point, you can kind of dig into it a little. Like, the thing with Doc was that it wasn't the talent. Like, he was a very, very skilled and very, very confident player. Like, really confident. And that was kind of the issue. It was very sort of Jonathan Drouin-like, where, like, I think that Doc wanted a lot really quickly, and the coaches in Chicago, like, it just, I heard a few times that it just wasn't a good relationship between both parties. And it kind of just ground to the point where Chicago was like, you know what, we're done with this guy. Let's just move on. And Montreal went, okay, we'll play him. Sure. Like, you see it with Doc. Like, when he's on, You see it. But he also was a bit of a surprising pick at 3, if I remember correctly. A bit of a surprise. What went wrong with Alex Nylander? Honestly, he was drafted so long ago, I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't remember. I don't have an idea. Will Czechia get lucky against Canada? If so, Sweden might repeat. Well, I don't think Czechia got lucky against Canada. I think they earned their luck. But they could have a good team too. I mean, they always do. Finland could have a pretty good team next year. Finland might be a team you might need to worry about. Like, I know they won't have Rimpinen, but they've got some good goalies floating around. They've got some really good defensemen floating around, like a group of Piparinen and Ala Lowry and Svensk and who else? Piparinen. Now that's already right there a pretty good group. And Suvanto up front, and you've got some younger guys you could bring who are also pretty good, and you might not want to count out Finland next year. They could be pretty good. Could a team draft one ruck without getting the other? Of course they could. They could just draft Liam Ruck or Marcus Ruck and then not draft the other one. It's possible. Thoughts on Pavelski being a coach for the Leafs? Look, I don't know. I don't know. What I will say is that they are interviewing a lot of people. They are doing a very wide search. That is all, as an outsider, that's all you can ask for. Just look for the right person. Just do your due. Don't just go, Bruce Cassidy is available. Don't just go, Craig Berube won a cup. Therefore, let's do that. You know? That would be the bad decision. But if you take your time and cast a wide net, like the Montreal Canadiens hired Martin St. Louis with zero professional experience at all. That seems to be working out just fine. Like, I don't think a coach's job is really that much at the NHL level beyond just being a great motivator and getting your guys to buy in and show up and trusting, like, your systems, of course. But I think your personality and the way that you interact with the players is what matters a lot more. You're trying to get the best performances out of them, right? Know what makes them tick and work on that. And if it's Joe Pavelski in their mind, then go for it. What do you have to lose? Toronto was awful this year. How much worse could they possibly get? They were embarrassing at the end of the season. Like, look, they hired John Chayka. They're going wildly in a different direction. Clearly, Keith Pelly was not happy with last season at all. So why not? like it's so crazy, it just might work. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be him. If they do a search and come up with the person that they feel is right, then that's what they've done. And clearly they're doing that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And whoever they pick, whatever. Are Bjork and Benson similar? Kinda-ish. I think Bjork is a much better, like, tactical passer, but they're relatively comparable. I think he's also better, like, puck controller with his skill than Benson is, but Benson has gotten a lot better there, I think. And that's me being nitpicky. Is this draft similar to 2021? Yes, I think so. Speaking of when the last time you have seen Gustav Karlsson, have your thoughts on him's changed? I mean, he's moved down my list. He's at 41 on my ranking now. But I still think that, like, I would draft him, and I could easily see him as a penalty killer and a fourth liner that I love having on my team and is a great dude to have. He's a really annoying player to play against. I think that's valuable. And I think the fact that we saw him at the World Juniors at barely 18 years old, playing on the penalty kill in tough situations for Sweden, scoring shorthanded goals and looking pretty good doing it, I get the feeling that he is worth picking. And yeah, he's 5'8". But I watched some tape back last week when I was finalizing everything, or earlier this week, I should say. And I just went, yep, now I remember why I liked this guy so much. He's really good. And actually, we have a report coming next week that goes into that a little more. So you can look forward to that. I think I'm going insane because I did a mock draft with Jacob Doodle, but now I'm looking for it. I can't find it. Yeah, I did. He pulled it. He's re-uploading it, I think, because there were some audio issues with his editing. So I think he's re-uploading it. I'm not sure, but he took it down. I had nothing to do with that. But I will say that I had a hot take for what Vancouver should do. And I don't think Vancouver fans would have liked it that much because it is not something most people are suggesting. But I think it's kind of fun and interesting. I have Alexander Bilecki top 25. What's your opinion on him? I mean, he's at the end of my list. I like him. I think there's good offensive tools there. I think 3 years in college or something could do very well for him. Very deceptive playmaker, sort of a good high-end mind for generating offense, but I am very wary of his defensive ability right now. He's extremely aggressive. And not in the fun way that Albert Schmitz kind of is. I don't think he has the skating ability to cover his tracks, but he jumps into the rush a lot. Then I've seen a few games of him, and the number of times that odd man rushes are coming his way because he is kind of not picking his spots very well is pretty high. And maybe that's just the way he's coached, but I don't see a player like that working out in the NHL without some serious development. So I don't know. I mean, if you like him, but I'm not there. Without going into... Oh, no, we did that. Do you remember Nolan Patrick? I do, kinda. And that's another one that's a shame, because he was also really good. Thoughts on Verhoff and the Leafs? Apparently he visited Toronto before going to Game 4 of the Cup Final. Obviously not the same day. Yeah. Well, maybe on the same day. It could have been. It's possible. Well, I'd be surprised. But look, the Leafs are doing their due diligence. As they should. The last thing you want is to draft a guy first overall that you don't 100% fully buy into, and that requires evaluating options. And look, we've seen so many quotes from people saying, now, the rumors are that Toronto told him he's going first overall, McKenna that is. So if that's true, then that's true. But Toronto, probably also is... They might be one of those teams that's it's a lot closer than people think, and we're going to look around. We'll poke around. I would be stunned if Keaton Verhoff is number 1. I would be shocked. That would be absolutely shocking. But they're probably just doing their due diligence. Just seeing what he's like, seeing how he vibes. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I would be shocked. How much do you think last-minute hype trains like Malhotra are due to an agent with connections? Well, I mean, people have been on the Malhotra hype train since, November. So it's not recent. I look back, he's been in people's top 15-ish almost the whole year. So, maybe. But no, I think people see Brantford as a premier program. I think they see Caleb Malhotra playing with some of the best players in the league, seeing him be Manny Malhotra's kid, putting the math together in their head and going, this guy must be a top guy too. I just think it's that simple. And also, I'm sure they saw him throw reverse hits and plant his feet in the ground and get his butt in the way of people and make a play. And they go, that guy is an NHL player. I don't know. I think there is reason for him to be considered quite highly. I don't think that high is reasonable. Thoughts on the Oilers coaching? The thing about the whole Babcock thing is is it really worth it? Is he hasn't coached a game in 7 years. Is he so good and you want him so bad that it's worth the firestorm? I don't think so. There has to be a solution that makes more sense. I don't know, man. I'm surprised, but pretty wild. I don't know, man. It's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. Can I get your random basketball prospects knowledge? Sure, fire it. Fire me. Well, don't fire me. Is McKenna Wemby or Greg Oden? That's a good question. Poor Greg Oden, man. Really wishing the Ducks still had 18th. Yeah, John Carlson's still pretty good too. My favorite projection you've ever given to a player was that he'll be a really good player in Europe. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a reasonable thing. I think it's a reasonable thing to put out there on a player. It's like I've had people tell me about NHL guys and be like, yeah, these guys are going to be good, but in the WHL, like they'll be good, but in the OHL or in NCAA, I don't know about the NHL. But yeah, with the Oilers, yeah, I wouldn't be picking up the phone and calling Mike Babcock. I don't know. I don't know why I would do that. There's got to be better options, but hey, it's Daryl Cates, man. It's the Daryl Cates and the Edmonton Oilers. You never know. Your face is too. I mean, in the Jacob video, I did put one of those guys at that number 3 slot for Vancouver. I know there are. I won't say that Vancouver is one of them, but there are teams that see the draft as very close and they're looking at moving down. They would like to. I was asking if a team drafts one ruck, they should draft both. How much of the game is simply being compliments of one another? I would say for the rucks that Marcus certainly lives off of Liam a lot more than Liam lives off of Marcus. I have Liam ranked. I don't have Marcus ranked. Do you think Malhotra could be Jordan Staal? If he does, would be a great outcome. Sure. I mean, that thought had occurred to me. Sure. You know, but would you like all that matters then is though, like, look at the guys that went after. You know, that Jordan Staal was 2003, right? Was that the big? No, it wasn't. 2006. It was his brother, right? Eric was the big. Or no, I don't know. Yeah, like Jordan Staal went second, Jonathan Taves went third, Nicholas Backstrom fourth, Phil Kessel fifth. Like, who would you rather have, right? Like, I think it's very debatable that Jordan Staal is the best of those 4 players. He's lasted the longest. He's played the most games, but boy, Nicholas Backstrom was a hell of a player. Interesting draft year. Milan Lucic, look at that. Brad Marchand, Claude Giroux, Nick Foligno, Derek Brassard. Oh, David Pagnotta says the Kings and Penguins are 2 teams the Nurse would accept a trade to. Interesting. I was thinking more trading a thing for maybe another pick. Maybe. I mean, I don't know what they would trade, but for the Leafs, but I don't know. I don't know why they would, like, I don't think Matthew Nyes is going anywhere now that they have a new GM, and I cannot imagine Austin Matthews is going anywhere, and they don't really have much else that someone would trade a top 5 pick for, I don't think. Unless it's an absolute no-brainer. Did anybody have a rankings jump post-combine? For me, no, but it seems like all of a sudden people are also catching on to Jonas Lagerberg-Hohn. I saw him at 32 on someone's list, and Pronman had him pretty high, I think, and so I don't know what happened, but yeah, apparently he's good. I mean, the thing about the combine too was it was pleasantly surprising for me to see how often guys like Villeneuve and Preston and guys that I really like that I think people are throwing aside real fast performed very well. So it's like, oh, like this guy doesn't work very hard off the ice. It's like, well, if he doesn't work hard off the ice, clearly something's going right because he did perform amicably cardio wise and physically. So I don't know. Any thoughts on Edwards and Diorio? I like Diorio a bit more. I just don't know if they're projectable past college hockey, especially Edwards. Like, Edwards is smart, sees the ice pretty well, good off puck scorer too, but I just don't think that's very projectable. Diorio, I was hoping the under 18s would show me a little more, and I think he's an interesting, more pacey guy, like energetic and maybe a bit more physical, but when I track games of him, nothing really comes out the other end. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much there to chew on, and that always spooks me a bit. I was talking to a Dallas and Utah scout living in Muskegon, and they said Burzkowns wouldn't go until the third or fourth round. Doesn't work hard enough. What do you think? Well, I mean, they would know more than me, but he certainly doesn't play like that. I think he's one of the best players out there in terms of playing along the boards and board work and protecting the puck. And I think that you watch his playoff run and you saw a lot more pucks going in and a lot more stuff that he was trying, working out. And if you don't like him, I'll take him. But I mean, if it is true, then either he learns how to work harder and becomes awesome, or he doesn't, and it doesn't work. But he certainly doesn't play like someone who doesn't work hard enough, in my opinion. If and when Pugh and Schultz go off at the Holinka, how much of a hype train will there be for them with DuPont likely not going? Which 27, 28 prospects will be the stars? I know it's early. I mean, for Canada specifically, like, you'll probably see, I mean, Alexis Joseph will probably be there, and he probably will be just fine. Malik L'Italien might be good there. Brock Englund, Calder Hamilton, sorry. I like him. Eshkokagan's too old. Cameron Warren. I think there will be people who get behind Cameron Warren, like myself, and I think a bunch of old guys will not. Brock Cripps, if he has a good summer, Brock Cripps could immediately jump out as a really impressive option. I think he did take a big step this year compared to last year, and if he does that again, then who knows? And he's still pretty young. There's a few. Canada's probably going to have a good team next year. Yeah. They got some good ones. Bobby Orr. Yeah, exactly. Who's a prospect you've been most wrong about and have to eat crow? Well, I mean, as of right now, I had Lysell at 3, and that's looking awfully silly, but I mean, I still think that there's a story there that could be worked. That I still think he's a great player. It's just there's a lot more going on. It's true I was out at the bar. No, I don't mean your story isn't true. I mean if what they're saying is true. I'm not saying that if what they said was true. I'm saying the actual facts behind it. Like if they're old school guys, like, I don't know. I find guys like that often hold Europeans to a much different standard than Canadian. Like if Rudolph Burzkowns were from Oyen, Alberta and was raising cows growing up, I feel like I wonder if they would say that type of thing. But you can't choose where you're born. At least I don't think you can. But yeah, in terms of prospects I've been wrong about, I mean, yeah, Lysell at 3 is looking kind of dumb, but I see why he went so late, and I see why it hasn't worked, and like it wouldn't have taken much to convince me to skip over him in that draft. I refuse to cede ground on Lambert. The people yearn for World Cup kits rankings. Okay, we'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, there's a few. Are you worried about? Let's see, what else could McKenna be the next Allen Iverson? There's maybe some crossover there. Thoughts on Tair Birganov? Oh my god, I know that name. Why do I know that name? Birganov. Oh, he's Kazakh, right? This guy, yeah. I don't know. I think I've seen him play. I have seen him play for sure because I watched a bit of the Kazakh team this year at the under-18s, but I couldn't tell you. I think he's pretty good, though, from what I remember. Are you worried about Jackson Culver's sensor skating? Do you think he can capitalize on a good career? Well, he's a development project. You bet on him long-term and see where he is. I think he's physical enough to make it work. I think he's got some high-end traits that I think could work. You're betting on him long-term. Like, he's a guy that I'd want back in London for a year or two and then go to college and then see where he is. Can you tell which ruck is who by their faces? Honestly, not really. What do you like out of a guy like Ludvig Anderson? I don't really see much there with him. I think he's just big and slow and complements guys like Arm Olsen and Command really well. Should Chicago take Cullen for Bedard? It would be very surprising, but it wouldn't shock me. It would be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. All right, let's see. World Cup kits, and then we got to run because I am tired and I've got things to do here. Is there a tier maker list? No. Oh. Maybe? Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll go World Cup 2026 World Cup. Okay, here's what we'll do. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do this. Okay. Does this work? Okay, yes. So, and we can split view and do no. Is this how it can go? Are they going to do this? Okay, we'll do this. And then this. There we go. Okay, there. That will work. We'll do that. I love the internet. Okay. So Algeria leads us off. I mean, those are pretty sweet. Not gonna lie. Now, where is Algeria on this list? It would be really helpful if it was alphabetical, but it isn't. Whoa, why are there so many? The same teams are on here like twice. Okay, well that's awfully confusing. Do you think some scouts hate McKenna for leaving the CHL? No, I don't think so. I think they'll forgive their sweet child boy. Where the hell is the Algerian flag? That's not it. That's Tunisia. It's green with the Islamic star on it. That's Azerbaijan. Am I blind? There's too many flags. This is hurting my eyeballs. Yeah, that's not really helpful. Okay, we'll just do this. Are these alphabetical? Yes, I believe these are alphabetical, right? No, they're not. Oh my god. How hard can this be? How hard can this be, in all honesty? Why is Daft Punk popping up first? Why is that happening? Okay, I'm sorry. Why search result? How is this even physically possible? Who did someone remake tiermaker.com as a vibe code thing? 2026 FIFA World Cup team search, Battlefront 2 ability cards. What does that have to do with anything that I searched for? It doesn't have to do with 2026. It doesn't have to do with FIFA, the world. It's a galaxy far, far away. Cup. There's no cups in Star Wars. They have, I mean, I'm sure they have cups, but who cares? This really isn't helpful. Video games? Really? Okay. Nope. Okay. Finally. Okay, we found it. Algeria. Okay, we got it. I'm plopping these in the A. We'll start there. I think that's reasonable. Argentina, sick. I love them. Right up to the top. Australia. Interesting. Where are you here? Brazil, Cape Verde, Australia. We'll say B. We'll say a B for them. Austria, lame. They're not terrible, but they're boring. Belgium. Those are pretty nice. Not gonna lie. Those are pretty nice. We'll go A. I don't think I like them as much as Argentina. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Well, they don't have an away kit listed, but those are pretty cool. We'll go A for those. Those are nice. Brazil. Ooh, I like those. Yeah, I like that. That one can go with Argentina. South America looking pretty good. Cape Verde Islands, pretty boring. I like them. Do I like them more than Argentina or Austria? Yes, I think so. Canada. Oh man, that is. I don't hate them. I love this one. This one I'm a little skeptical of. Oh, it's Curacao? What? This? I'm confused. Oh, it wasn't the Bosnian flag. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's true. This one's the Bosnian flag. There we go. My bad. It was a different blue and yellow with a star on it. Thank you. Canada, well, we'll put them up here because this is awesome. Might be one of the best. This one is questionable, but they're good. Home kit for Colombia. Ooh. Not a huge fan. Not gonna lie. This one hurts my eyes too much. It's like an optical illusion. I don't like when you dress like an optical illusion. Cote d'Ivoire. Okay. Pretty good. I don't think it's world ending, but Cote d'Ivoire can hang. That is Cote d'Ivoire, right? Yeah. It looks like the Irish flag, but it's not. We'll say C. Compared to the Australia one. Yeah. I think that's fair. Croatia. Okay, Croatia always kills it. I'm sorry, but I love the checkerboard thing. That's classic. Curacao. Classy. Not gonna lie. I don't like these because it makes you look like these are like stuff that little boys wear, I think. I feel like these kinds of shirts are just like the red polo shirts you get at Value Village that's Czech. Curacao, Czech Republic. Yeah, no, these are pretty lame. D. Curacao, that's classy. That's classy. Where is Curacao here? There. This is Curacao. They're nothing. Yeah, you know what? I'm a fan. I like it. The DRC. Not so sure about these ones. Not so sure. I think you could have done better. Ecuador. They're yellow. They are black. Okay. Well, I mean, they're not awful. I'll put them down there. They're classic look, What else do we have here? Egypt. Interesting. I think you could have done a little more here. This is cool though. Egypt, where are you? Yeah. They're the Australia style. I think they're Australia level. These are pretty nice. These red ones are nice. England, classic, not so bad. I like them. Simple, basic, very Canada-like, but that's par for the course. France, ooh yeah, those are nice, and it's not because of the cool-looking guy with the shades, but these are cool. Germany is pretty neat. That's pretty cool. I love these. This one, not so much. We'll go A. I like them. Ghana. Oh. Okay. Fire. Ghana's fire. Elite. Those are elite. Haiti. Okay. Not amazed. Not amazed, honestly. They're pretty boring. Iraq. Okay, all we get are the blue ones for Iraq here. I mean, those look okay. I can't be too upset. Iraq, you can go there. Iran. Pretty basic. I don't know. Pretty boring. Japan. Oh, I like these. I like these. Yes, the Italian ones. Where's Italy? Italy. Did they make it? Did they qualify? I don't remember. Jordan. I'd say another. Well, I don't know. There's nothing there. Mexico. That's pretty sick. Not gonna lie, those are sick. Those are also really sick. Morocco. Okay. Well, you tried. You showed up. Not sure. These are cool. You know what? The aways are cool. I like the little pattern there. The Netherlands. Very England coded. Very England coded. But they're nice. You know what? I really like them. I think they're really nice. New Zealand. Classic. Don't hate them at all. We'll go there. Norway. Oh, okay. Yes, please. Panama. Pretty boring. I like interesting ones. Ooh, Paraguay. Speaking of interesting, not so sure. It's psychedelic and fun, but not sold. This is wild. This is a good one. They're pretty good. Portugal. Okay, that's cool. These are nice. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Qatar. Show me something I haven't seen before. Korea. Not sure about the badge color on this one, but the Republic of Korea can hang. They're cool. We'll go B. They're solid B. Yeah, solid B. Saudi Arabia. That's interesting. It's very similar to how I feel about Qatar. Qatar. Scotland. Oh my god, yes. Yes, please. I'm biased, but I don't care. Senegal. Oh my god. These are sick. Oh my god. Teams cooked this year. I can't wait to get knockoffs on sale in 6 months. South Africa? They're fine. That's kind of neat. Spain. Honestly, not a fan. I don't like it. Or, I mean, those are really classy looking and cool. So, you know what? We'll put it there, but come on. You could have done better. Sverige. Whoa. Okay. They're solid. I'd say B. Solid. Classic, but not amazing. Whoa. Switzerland. That hurts my eyeballs. Automatic. Yeah, no. You look like a highlighter. Not a fan. Oh my goodness. The flag is too big. Simple. Flag is too big. Yeah. Turkey. Oh, Tunisia. Okay, sure. They're red. Okay. You know what? We'll give Turkey a little boost there. We'll do that. How about that? Uruguay. Ooh, Uruguay. Ooh, okay. They're cooking. This is like something out of a 2000s movie with Vin Diesel in it, like a science fiction movie like Chronicles of Riddick, which I appreciate, even though those movies are awful. Okay. I'm sorry. No. I know it's America and everybody is feeling a certain way about America, but those are not. No. Uzbekistan? Oh, well, they're there. They that's them. Flag as a badge sucks. I agree. Oh, wait a minute. Are these? I'm on the Olympics website. Okay, so it is FIFA World Cup. Weird that that's on the Olympics website. Anyway, yeah, that's how I would break it down. Those are pretty sweet. Anyway, we're gonna go. It's we've run quite late, and I've got to run. So we'll see you Monday night. for our last normal week of shows, and then it's draft week, and then recap week, and then the videos start, and we're off for the live shows until the fall. So get signed up for all of the shows on draft week. Those are all on the YouTube channel. We got a report coming tomorrow. We'll have 3 more next week. We'll have a game tape next week, I believe, and then tons of stuff for draft week. So stay tuned. We're gonna have some fun, and we'll see you Monday night, 8 p.m. Keep using the simulator. Keep sending me all your anonymized data so I can do some data analysis on it. It's been very, very fun. And we'll see you Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, and have a good weekend. Party on. Goodbye.